Welcome back to Bully Ball, a San Francisco 49ers podcast. Today, we are bringing you guys NFL draft prospects the San Francisco 49ers should take a look at. We're excited for this one. 49ers finally have a first round pick after what feels like a decade. So we're excited to jump in. Stay tuned.
Tony Montana, Tony Montana, Tony Montana, check up on my ear. Tony Montana, Tony Montana, Tony Montana, I'm about to cut.
All right, so we have the draft coming up in almost just over 10 days, 12 days in total. It's right around the corner. And we're going to give you guys our guys that we like in this draft class. Now, we kind of are going more towards realistic guys that are going to be in the 49ers range, whether that be first round pick to, undrafted guys. It's going to be everything from your first rounders to your sleepers, guys that may go, middle rounds, wherever. So go ahead, Alex, and give them your first person.
All right. So like Joseph said, I'm kind of going the guys that I picked here are more of like underrated, definitely more realistic for our first, second, third round picks. But the first guy that I'm going to be talking about is Patrick Paul. He's an offensive tackle from Houston. This last year, he had a PFF grade of 81.1, played in all 12 games, only allowed one sack. Only allowed one sack in 2022 as well, so that's great. Only allowed one hit this last year and 7 quarterback hurries. Played 777 snaps at left tackle. He only has experience at left tackle, so not that versatility necessarily that you would like to see from offensive linemen, but still, he's played extremely well at offensive tackle. Let me see if I can go ahead and pull up the PFF that I'm looking at right now. So, as you can see here, his run blocking grade, 69.4, well over the average offensive tackle in college last year. Zone grade, which we run a lot of, 70.3, once again, well over the average. Pass block grade, which is huge, 91.5. As you can see, that's great. That's damn near top of the line out of all offensive tackles. So that's a big one. And then 89.8 true pass block grade, another top of the line grade right there. So it's obviously he can run block, but his strength is going to be in pass blocking, which is big. I think Brock Purdy was one of the most sacked or pressured quarterbacks last year. So having somebody that can take some of that pressure off him, give him a little bit more time would be huge. So Patrick Paul, as you can see here, his size alone makes him worth betting on, and his improvement in his fundamentals from 2022 to 2023 was encouraging. Obviously, if we're going to have him play tackle, he wouldn't necessarily need to start right away, so we can have that time to kind of mature and develop a little bit. Says here needs to get a little bit quicker and more fundamentally sound. But like we said, he improved on his fundamentals year to year. And, good anchor, long arms. He had good footwork. And then, he's a little bit heavy, stuff like that. But that's one of my guys. Let me see if we can go back on some clips here.
Yeah, really good player. The one thing I noticed with him when I was watching him is when he gets his hands on defenders, he likes to grab outside on the shoulder pads, and he's going to get called for a lot of holding penalties in the NFL doing that. But I think, did you say his arm length?
Yeah. Well, he has super long arms. I don't know what his
he has
exactly, but they're pretty long.
Yeah, he has crazy long arms. So if he punches inside, he'll be fine, I think that's one thing he could easily improve at the next level.
Definitely. So looking at this little chart here, this is their career pass blocking and true pass sets. As you can see, Patrick Paul is here. So obviously that's well over. There's not many people Abraham Lucas and Andre Dillard, those two are in the league. I think they're starting tackles. Abraham Lucas for the Seahawks, Andre Dillard, I'm not sure where he plays, but I know he's in the league.
He played for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Then the Titans or something. I don't know.
Penei Sewell right behind Patrick Paul on that. And then the true pass set rate, he's like middle of the pack right there too. So that's very encouraging from a pass blocking standpoint. Definitely one of the better pass blockers in the whole draft for sure. Obviously, it's one of the more stacked positions in this draft. As you can see here, rewind a little bit for you. So he's right here. And you can just see, pretty decent get off, blocking two guys essentially, sealing that edge. And then he has that dog in him. You see right at the end, he finishes that block very good. Late puts his guy in the dirt. So you can see he's right here. Seals off the edge, gets to the second level, seals off the linebacker, and then finishes that block. So that's what you like to see. You like to see that physicality and all of that. So, yeah, like this guy says too right here, outstanding combination of size. So he's 6'7", 332. His arm length and technique, and that's like what I said, And then here's another run blocking rep from him. So you can see he's right there. Good athleticism, and then seals off his guy. You know what I mean? That's all you can ask for. And like we said, he wouldn't have to necessarily start right now, but that's my first guy that I like to talk about. So Joe, why don't you go?
Would you take him in the second round if he's there for you in your second round pick?
I definitely would, especially, we'd have to see, what we already picked in the first round, who's still there in the second round, because, I think we're kind of in a position where you can take best player available. You don't really necessarily have to reach on somebody, but if he's there, he's definitely somebody to consider. You just have to determine his versatility. Can he play inside, or is he only a true left tackle? Can he play right tackle? Can he play guard? Anything like that. That's what ultimately would be. That's probably one of his biggest downsides to me, is that he hasn't showed any versatility at all throughout his college career.
Yeah. So my first guy is opposite of yours in that you're going to have to trade up in the first round to get him. This is my draft crush. So you're going to have to trade up probably to the middle of the first round, and there is a possibility he gets picked in the top 12. I think that's a little too early for him, in my opinion. I think he's more around like pick 15-ish, and I think that's where you'd have to go. If he fell to like 20, I would go up and get him. But I think he goes around 15. And he's literally the exact opposite prospect as your guy. It's Troy Fautanu from Washington. If you could pull him up on PFF, because I don't have that up. But I say he's the exact opposite because he's small when it comes to the size. Your guy was 6'7", 330. Troy Fautanu is about 6'3". I don't know his weight off the top of my head, but he has, just about good enough arm length that you would like at tackle. You would like 34-inch arms. And I believe he has 34.5-inch arms, even though he's short at 6'3". But the dude is athletic, and that's what I love about him. All right, let's see. So it looks like the run block grade is, middle of the road in the yellow. Pass block grade right up there, pretty elite. And then his grade throughout the years looks like best year was 22, but similar in 23. Gave up a couple sacks, but they also made it all the way to the national championship game. So he was playing elite talent for multiple weeks. And as you could see by his snap alignment, he did play some guard, and some teams will think he's going to play guard. But I say you leave him at tackle. If he fails at tackle, you can move him into guard, and you're going to have a good guard. But if I pull up some clips here of him, You can see that the dude is an athlete. He was great at the combine, and he's right here at left tackle. And he just has great technique. I would like him to play right tackle for the 49ers, and I believe he could do that. But you just see the technique, and like you said, the dog, he's going to get after you. And that play, the spin, I don't like that's some crazy recovery technique, but that just shows the athleticism by him. And there he is picking up a stun. Just a really smart player, and you see the movement ability for a tackle. You want a guy that can move, especially with teams now playing that wide nine like the 49ers. You're going to have your DNs out wide. You need a guy that's going to be able to get out and get to them quick. And just the athleticism of this guy, and you see the hand fighting, the technique, you love it. You know, the size, the height, we'll see how that works out, but I think he'd be a great pickup for the 49ers. But like I said, you would have to trade up, and I do not know if the 49ers are willing to do that this year. Especially, like you said, this is probably the deepest tackle class some people are saying they've ever seen. So would you really trade up for one if it's really that deep? Who knows? But there's a picture floating around from today that the 49ers are at the University of Washington. I don't know if it's pro day or something going on today, but they're there. John Lynch and the 49ers offensive line coach. Hopefully for Troy here and not for the other tackle, Rosen, because I do not want him with our first round pick. But that's my guy. Do you have anything to say about him before we go to Dad?
I mean, a lot of people are saying too, you know, he's extremely versatile. Obviously, Joseph said he would prefer to keep him at tackle, but if worse comes to worse, he could kick inside guard, possibly even center. You know, he doesn't have the experience necessarily, but like we said with the Niners, you can afford to have a little bit of a growth period just because our O-line is kind of set, especially bringing back Feliciano. You still have Brendel, you still have McKivitz, Banks, and obviously Trent. So you're going to eventually need players, but right now, you won't need them right now. Like it is a need, but it's not like a dire, like, damn, we don't have anybody. So just that versatility to see kind of where he goes and everything like that, I think is big, you know, because that's what you want from your offensive lineman. You want those guys that can play multiple positions. You have anything to add?
I agree.
Yeah. All right, go ahead and touch on your first prospect.
So mine was Tyler Guyton, another tackle. He's a big guy. I believe he's like 6'8". He can move pretty good. He's really physical. He's been coached. He's been coached by a seasoned coach that has a lot of players in the league and a lot of successful players at that in the league. So that's always good to know that the knowledge and the information he's getting is from somebody legit. You know, I don't know where he'd fall into play on the picks. You guys are more in depth than that. You know, he was just a player that I was checking out that I liked, you know, that I think he could come in. He's real athletic. He has good feet. You know, he can move around. He's physical. And for his size, he's really quick.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, looking at his PFF profile right now, the first thing they say is Guyton is a rare athlete for an offensive tackle. He's a former D-end and didn't start playing tackle until he got to college, which is pretty insane. So he's still very green at the position, you know what I mean? So there's still going to be a lot of room for growth. Yeah, he's huge. He's 6'7", 327, you know what I mean? So they said his foot speed and stride length for a player of his size are very impressive. I think he ran a pretty fast 42, didn't he? Like,
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. So his, looking at his pass blocking grade and everything, his PFF grade throughout the year, he mainly played right tackle. He played a little bit of left tackle here and there, not much at all. His pass block grade was 72.9. Gap grade was 64.8. Zone grade was 55, so a little bit lower than average, but obviously, like we said, he's still very green. He allowed no sacks this last year out of 10 games, which is impressive. 3 hits, 9 hurries. So very, very impressive. Obviously, he's very raw, like we said. He didn't start playing tackle until college. So, but he has those gifts. This is one of those guys that you're investing in. You're investing in his physical traits. You know what I mean? He's very, very green to the position, but I mean, just look at his speed, getting to the second level. His get off is pretty impressive. You're not once he gets his hands on you, more than likely you're not going to win. You're not coming off that block. Like he's huge. So that's definitely one of the guys that we could be looking at in the draft. I think they're projecting him to go a little bit higher though, right? Higher than what we are.
Yeah, he's projected as one of those guys where he could be available at our pick 31, or he might go a little before that. But they have him right in that range. I'd say like 27. It depends if there's a run on tackles.
Yeah.
But probably around 27 to like 33-ish he's going to go. And I believe when he got to Oklahoma, he was a tight end as well. So
yeah.
Then he goes to tackle. And
I mean, looking at PFF and their analysis of him right now too, the first pro that they have on him is truly elite movement skills. They say could honestly play tight end. So that's how much of an athlete this dude is for that size. Is pretty insane. And, that's what we need. We need somebody that can be that athlete, get off the ball, and move people, which obviously he has the size to do. So definitely one of the top guys that we should be looking at. As you can see, our first 3 players are all offensive linemen. So that's kind of where Bully Ball's emphasis is. You know what I mean? It's on that offensive lineman position, mainly at tackle. But obviously we need guards, versatile guys. You have anything else on Guyton?
no, you guys covered it pretty much. I do like that if you do draft him, your one position that you would like to upgrade this year is right tackle, and he plays right tackle, so you're not really projecting like, oh, this is a left tackle, can he play right tackle? Oh, this is a guy that does this. I don't know if he beats out McKivitz this year, but you would hope he would. So
yeah. But like we said too, we have that time where he can develop if he needs to.
yeah.
So going on to our next guy. The next guy I want to talk about is obviously something that the 49ers have made obvious that we need an upgrade at, and that's at our tight end 2 behind George Kittle, obviously. And this guy, I think his college career pretty much resembles that of Kittle's. You know what I mean? He's a great athlete. Didn't get a lot of opportunities in college to catch the ball, but he can. And I feel like if you gave him the opportunity, that he would take advantage of it. So this guy is Tip Raymond out of Illinois. He was one of the better. He's probably one of the better, if not the best, pass or run blocking tight end in the draft this year. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys some clips of him. And this was just him run blocking. Like I said, he didn't have a ton of time receiving the ball. He wasn't given the opportunity for whatever reason. Like I said, very similar to Kittle, though, because Kittle did not catch the ball at all at his time at Iowa. So here is Tip Raymond. There he is right there. I mean, just moving guys. And that's what we need. For now, that's what we need out of a tight end, too. Obviously, you're going to need some receiving ability, which, like I said, he's an athlete. So I think if you gave him the opportunities, he would take advantage of them. But look at him, solo blocking D ends. If we could have done that NFC Championship game a couple of years ago, Brock Purdy probably never would have got hurt. Who knows? Could have been 6-time Super Bowl champs. Yeah, I mean, just look at his ability to move people. Like, as a tight end, that's having that 6th O lineman, 7th O lineman if you're including Kittle, if you're running that Brock. So, great run blocker. Let me see if I can pull up some combines. I mean, look at that block right there. That was crazy. That's against a D-end. A D-end that's probably damn near double his size, and he just pancakes this dude, throws him on the floor. Not this rep. I think, was it this rep? I think it was the next one.
Yeah, and that's
that too.
That's Penn State. Is that Chop Robinson or Adisa Isaac? Those are first, second round players, if so.
Yeah. So obviously he has that ability to move people in space, which is great and what you want from, a tight end too. Here's him pushing the sled in the combine. He had 3 receiving touchdowns last year, obviously. And then here's some of his potential as a receiver. This is I think this is the Shrine Bowl. Good route, and look at that contested catch. So if you give him the opportunity, I think he could take advantage of it. Obviously, he's not going to be a focal part of the offense receiving wise, but if you give him that opportunity, he can show up for you if you need him to be. Here's a couple more of his routes. Great route, great catch. Not like fumbling it. Here's another one. Obviously, these are one-on-ones at the Shrine Bowl, so they're a little bit harder for the defense, but still, just moving people. Obviously, you didn't catch that one, but still, very athletic. He's 6'4", 273, contested catch right there. So he has that contested catch ability that you would like to see. You know what I mean? He looks very athletic.
Did you get his combine numbers?
Let me see. I think I had something. No, let me pull it up real quick.
Oh, here I got it. It looks like Tip Raymond, 6'5", 271. So big, heavy tight end.
Yeah.
32 and 7/8 inch arms, decent length, 10.5 inch hands, those big hands. His athleticism score, according to NFL.com, that they post the official combine stuff, he was the first rated tight end.
Yep.
Athletically at the combine. 4.64 40, which, for a tight end, that's good. This year's tight end class is weak, very weak. So that's good. Last year's class, you had tons of dudes running 4.5s, tons of first, second round dudes. You don't have that this year. So good numbers, 1.55, 10-yard split. So you like to see that. That's pretty fast. 33.5 inch vert, which is kind of low, but a 10-1 broad, which is good. 7.02 3 cone, pretty good. 28 bench reps. So he is a strong dude. He's going to push dudes out of the pocket. So, you like to see that from him. Very athletic for a tight end.
Yeah, I mean, just look at that size. Yeah, the size with that 40 speed. I think Kittle ran like a 4.52. And obviously, like you said, he ran a 4.63. So it's slower, but it's not terrible, especially for that size too. Obviously, your tight ends aren't going to beat Kittle. You know what I mean? All of those super fast guys. Obviously, Kittle's one of the best tight ends in the league. So if you could just get something out of your tight end too like that, a guy that can dominate in the run blocking game, and then if given the opportunity, can go up and make a big catch in the red zone or, down the field a little bit, third down, that could be huge. Like I said, we obviously don't need him to be a focal point of the offense either. So that's my guy, Tip Raymond out of Illinois. He could be, I think he's gone around late day 2, early day 3 pick, somewhere around there. So
Yeah, and Kittle coming out of college was probably, I would assume, probably like barely 240 pounds. So this dude has at least 35 pounds on him. That's a big dude.
Yeah.
That's
All
elite
right.
tight ends too, so he'd fit in.
Yeah.
Not
And
like having like a skinny Ross Dwelly trying to pass block or run block, or even Charlie Warner. You know, he's obviously gone, so you know that could be a huge upgrade for us.
yeah. All right. So some other guys that I wanted to touch on another tackle, but I'm going to skip him because he's another guy you'd have to trade up for. So I'm done with them. But it would be Tylese Fuaga from Oregon State, right tackle. Probably, in my opinion, the best right tackle in this class. Just a road grader, nasty. But that's all I'll say about him. My next guy is going to be Jalix Hunt. Now, this is a deep sleeper for you guys. Probably, I don't know where he's going to be drafted, to be honest. Maybe fifth or later. But this guy, he's 6'4", 252. He has 34-inch arms, which that's pretty long arms for a D end. 4'6", 40, 37-inch vert. So he's explosive. And the athletic profile on him is he's a D end, but he was a safety in college. For his first 2 years in college, he was a safety that got converted to tight end. Or I mean, not tight end, defensive end. So, you know, he's still learning the position and it's going to take time. But the 49ers do not need a starting end this year. You have your starting guys. You need a guy that could develop and bring, you know, some speed rush, a little bit of versatility on the edge for you. So let me go ahead. I don't know if you're going to be able to find him on PFF, but I'll pull up some clips of him.
Yeah, he wasn't on there.
Yeah, so here he is. You could see the speed, the explosiveness. This dude's still learning how to play the position, but you see the hand usage, like the potential is there for this dude to be a good defensive end. And you're going to let him learn behind two great veterans in Nick Bosa and Leonard Floyd. But I think if you could get him, you know, fifth round or later, you're going to get a dude that has potential to be great. And let me see if I can find, one more clip of him. And this is the type of dude that you take a chance on. What was it called last year when the 49ers drafted the guy from Georgia? They came up with that acronym, like,
Get the fuck out or get the fuck off.
yeah,
Right?
this is that type of player. You know, I think he'll rate high in that. And he just needs reps and experience, you know. Definitely a guy to take a late flyer on. And when you're drafting late, it's really just about what you're projecting someone to be. And I think this dude could be a really good D end a couple years down the road. What do you think about him based on the couple clips you see?
Yeah, definitely. He has that get off, that burst. You know what I mean? And I think the Niners are in a good spot right now. Like we've been well, at least what I've been saying is a lot of these guys don't necessarily have to have an impact right now because we have most of our starter positions filled. And all you need is just that potential, you know, that potential in year 2, year 3 to actually step up and be that difference maker. And that guy, like we said, is very explosive. Great get off, like Joseph said, that get the fuck off the ball or whatever that Kasarik uses. So yeah, I'm all about it.
Dad, who's your next person?
So I was talking about let's see, the center spot, Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon. He's a baller. He's violent. He's a violent one. If you watch some film on him, you know, like I said, I don't know where he'll go. These are just players. I don't get the time to dive into it as deep as you guys do. But I was watching some film on him, and he's a baller. I think he'd be really, really good with us.
Yeah, obviously Jackson Powers Johnson too is one of the most popular names in the draft, I would say, at least among 49ers fans, just based off his Senior Bowl performance. He dominated the Senior Bowl for like 2 days of practice. He won the best center in college football last year. I mean, look at that. Look at that speed. Look at that athleticism. That was from the center position. That's like Jason Kelsey athleticism. You know what I mean? To get all the way out there and then just to put a dude on his ass like that. Like, that's stuff you don't see very often at all. And that's something that the Niners look for, is that athleticism from that center position, because that's huge. Even just straight up, like right there, just pancaking people. This one's tough, though, because a lot of things I've seen have him going earlier than our pick, but there was like a tweet, I believe, by like Ian Rappaport or somebody that said, oh, no, like the NFL actually isn't as high on Jackson Powers Johnson as, the media is. So that's something to watch out for. I would love – this is probably my draft crush. I'm an Oregon fan, so I've been watching him for a while. And, like, that would be huge for us, in my opinion. Because even if you want to throw him at guard, you could probably throw him at guard for this first year and then push him back at center if you had to. So that's definitely my draft crush and my number one priority for our first pick. But like we said, I don't know if he's going to get there at all.
Here he is at guard at the Senior Bowl against, I think this dude's like a second round pick, Michael Hall Jr. from Ohio State.
Yeah.
But yeah, this dude, I think he's the best center in this class. And he's also the biggest center. Most centers in the NFL are around 300 pounds. This dude is 330 something pounds. He's huge. He's massive. And then you saw him on the move. Like, a person that big should not move that fast. He would be perfect in the 49ers scheme.
Let me pull up his PFF profile real quick. Let's see. So, yeah, they have him ranked as 24th on the big board. Like they say here, the bottom line, starting caliber power and finesse traits at center or guard for both zone or man gap blocking concepts. Dominant enough at his position to be considered a top 20 talent, obviously. Stats-wise, just dominant everywhere. Like, look at these grades right here. All top of the line, like probably top 2, top 1 grades at the center. Or this is just all interior O-line. So this just isn't center only. This is centers and guards. And look at how elite. 85.6 run block, 83.8 zone, 87.1 true pass set pass block grade, 90.6 pass block, 70.2 gap. Like, those are just dominant numbers right there. Looking at his snaps or his stats from last year, no sacks. I mean, obviously you're going to allow less sacks on the interior O-line than your tackles. Only 1 hurry. And you can see the versatility. That's what I said earlier. You want to see versatility from your O-lineman. So obviously he only played center last year, but the year before, 350 snaps at right guard, 44 at center. And then the year before that, 26 at left guard, 20 at center, 80 at right guard. So he has the versatility to play anywhere within the interior O-line, which is huge. And then, this is somebody who kind of reminds me, somebody who Joseph and I loved coming out of the draft a few years ago was Quentin Nelson. Jackson Powers Johnson gives me that exact same vibe. Just a true bully. He fits our YouTube channel name, Bully Ball. He is a true bully, puts people into the fucking dirt. Big time people mover in the run game. Dense player who can anchor quickly and effectively. destroyer of worlds type of mentality. Like that's like, I don't know. If we could get him, that would be insane. That's somebody who I would consider trading up for. Only his one con was short arms, but I think with his athleticism and his mindset, I think that's a no-brainer if you could get him. If he slid to us, that'd be a dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At our pick 31, he is my number one player that I would take at that pick.
Yeah.
Because the other guys I want are not going to be there. Obviously, he's one that there is a very small chance. But like we said, centers aren't really a priority to teams in the draft. Who was it? Creed Humphrey was an amazing center, and I think he fell to the second round, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the Chiefs, yeah.
He was like the first or second pick in the second round.
Yeah, and I think the Ravens took a center like late in the first round this past year, but it's rare for centers to go early, so I hope he's there at 31. Would be great. All right, my next person, I was going to do another D end, but I'll switch to offensive side to take a break from the D ends, and it's going to actually be a small guy. So I want you guys to think back to when Kyle Shanahan first got to the 49ers. What were the type of players he loved at receiver? Those small, shifty slot guys that could get open. I forget who we had that first year Trent Taylor. He loved Trent Taylor. He loved Richie James. We had somebody else too that I can't think of, but
Marquise
he loved
Goodwin.
those small. Yeah, Marquise Goodwin. Was Anquan Bolden before his time? He was. Pierre Garcon. But he loved those small guys that could just win and get open no matter what. And sometimes I feel like we're missing that on our team. Jawan Jennings is great in the big slot role, and he's often open. But I feel like we're just missing that one piece where, hey, we need a small slot dude that's just going to be slippery, get open, and beat people one-on-one on the inside. And that's Malik Washington. I kind of see him as a guy that a lot of people are talking about. I'm not saying he's like Debo. He's a lot smaller. But a lot of people are comparing Malik Corley to Debo because they're saying his yak skills. I think Malik Washington's yak skills are better. And he's probably going to go a round or two later than Malik Corley. So I believe you'd have to look up his height and weight, but I think he's like 5'8" or 5'9", but the dude is shifty. Like, he gets open. He constantly beats people. And even when he doesn't, you look at him stretch out, pure hands catcher. He can win in the route, and then we'll see if he has any yak opportunities. Well, here's one right here, a couple yards of yak, but you'll see a couple more down the line. He's also a good yak player for being a small guy.
Yeah.
Runs good routes. I don't know what his 40 was. I would assume it was probably like in the 4.4 range. But as you can see, for a guy that's like 5'8", I believe he's like 190, he's tough with the ball in his hands. On a screen right here. And like I said, he's getting that yak. But, yeah, small guy, pretty fast, tough with the ball in his hands. He's a 49er receiver.
Yep. That's what we've been kind of thirsty for, that receiver that can truly take the top off of an offense or a defense, you know what I mean? And we've been trying to find it. Danny Gray, Ray McLeod, but we really just haven't found that. So if we could actually get somebody that can truly take the top off of defense every now and again, I think that could open up our offense even more. Because we do have a lot of more of those like possession yak receivers, you know what I mean? Not those guys that truly have that like downfield threat.
And here's a play that I was talking about with that Debo style of just breaking tackles. This dude's like 5'8", 185 or 190, and just fighting his way into the end zone.
Yeah.
So you love to see it.
Yep. Definitely.
All right. Who's your next guy? Is it you or is it Dad's turn?
I think it's mine. So obviously, I think the last 2 or 3 of my guys were all offensive linemen, tackles type guys. So I'll switch it up. I'll go to the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, another one of our bigger needs, and it's going to be cornerback from Florida State, Jarrian Jones. He played a little bit of outside corner early in his career, but now he's more of, they're projecting him to be more of a nickel cornerback. So that's obviously what we need. Just have that versatility. Do you want to play demo inside? Do you want to play demo outside? Having a true nickel, you could play demo outside, which he was great at. And yeah, so obviously, let me pull up some stuff on him real quick. Last year was his best year, and it was because he was playing inside most of the year. So here's his raw athleticism score, 9.61, which is great. So he's obviously not too tall, 5'11". I mean, that's pretty decent size. 190.
Slot size.
Yeah. 39.5-inch vertical, 10 foot 9-inch broad jump, huge. Obviously, as you can see here, elite. 40-yard dash, 4.38. So he has that speed that he can match up with anybody in the slot. Like I said, you really want him to play in the slot, but if you had to bump him outside, you could probably bump him out too. His shuttle, obviously a little bit slow, but 20-yard split, 10-yard split, he has that close range speed that he can keep up with those shifty slot receivers. So there's his raw athleticism score, which is great. You love to see it. Here's some clips of him, like they said, versatile. So obviously this against LSU. So here he is right here. Just that ability to see that it's, a quick pass and then get up there and make a tackle. Make that open field tackle by yourself. Stop it right there. That's huge for the Niners, depending especially on how much our defense is going to change with Brandon Staley, the influence that he brings. So like here, prior to 2023, he primarily played at outside corner, but likely has a future at nickel. Had career highs in interceptions, 3 in TFLs of 5 last year. So, and he played against the best talent, LSU, Florida, Miami. Good coverage right there. Pick, stayed with the play the whole route. That was huge. Once again, coming up, making that tackle. So he has that tenacity to come up and make a hit if he needs to. He's not afraid of contact. Once again, that's what you want from your slot guys too. Kind of bring that like K'Wan Williams type mentality, that can blitz, that can be physical, and is not afraid to mix it up every now and again. Here's some more clips of him. Rewind it. That was a great coverage interception right there. So this was like the ability to break. That shows you that speed too, that speed that he has to break on that ball and make a play right there. It's huge. You know what I mean? Like that's big time. That's what you want to see from your receiver or your corners. Let me pull up his PFF real quick too. So obviously, like we said, that's probably the second biggest need in my opinion. That wasn't the right one. Give me 1 second. Here we go. So like I said, last year is his best year. He mainly played in the slot. He had a 90.1 overall grade. Huge. 251 coverage snaps. Allowed 16 receptions on 32 targets for 158 yards. No touchdowns. 3 picks. And a 25.3 passer rating, which is insane. Coverage grade, obviously 87.0, top of the line for corners. Man coverage grade, which was big, 90.7, because as you remember, the Niners did kind of transition to a more man-on-man type defense. And then with Brandon Staley, who knows how much that's going to change it as well. Run defense grade was good too, above average. That's what you like to see. Zone was a little bit below average. So looking at his snaps by alignment, like I said, so 2022 and 2021, it pretty much was only playing outside corner. And then last year, he played mainly slot and had his best year. 6 foot, 191. He's an older guy. He's a redshirt senior. So, older guy. The Niners like those older guys too. That's why we pick a lot of the Senior Bowl players. As you can see here, the bottom line, took a while for Jones to find a home at slot corner, but since doing so has shown valuable skills that should translate to the NFL. Quickness and physicality projects him well as a nickel starter. Limited long speed, likely why he was pushed in the slot. He has that quick 10-yard, 20-yard speed that can just get into it at nickel. That's what they're mainly doing now. Reliable tackler, huge, especially with the Niners last year missing a lot of tackles. Smart. So, yeah, that's one of my top guys. You could probably get him, where would you say, maybe round 2? It's your round 2 pick, maybe?
Round 2 or 3, probably, yeah.
Yeah. So that's my guy right there, Jarrian Jones, Florida State corner.
Yeah, I like him. Anybody on that Florida State defense, you're getting a good player. They have, they have him. They have an outside corner that I have written down. I wasn't going to talk about him, but Renardo Green, one of the best outside corners in this draft as well. They have a good safety, Akeem Dent. And then obviously you have Jared Verse, who could possibly be the first edge rusher picked in the draft, and Braden Fisk, who is one of the most explosive interior rushers you'll see. His first step get off is insane. So you take anybody off that Florida State defense this year, you're probably getting a good player.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's kind of like how that LSU draft was a few years ago. Remember,
yeah,
whoever you were getting was just a baller. So, yeah.
All right, Dad, I think we're on your next player.
I got a running back. He was a receiver and then converted to a running back, I believe. Tyrone Tracy Jr. He quick hands. He runs. He has good vision, upfield vision. He's hard to get down, so he'd come in really well for like the Yak Bros. You know what I mean? Those players that we like that are hard to take down. He's one of them. He falls right into that. Like I said before, I don't know where he'd fall. You know what I mean? I don't get into the nitty-gritty like you guys do on that, but I seen some film on him, and I was like, oh, he's a pretty interesting player. He'd be a baller.
Yeah, he played at, I believe it was Iowa, 4 years at receiver, transferred to Purdue, became a running back, and I believe he's played running back for 2 years there. But you like to see that pass block pickup right there for a brand new running back, because that's one thing that a lot of running backs struggle with and why they can't play in the NFL. They can't pick up rushes and they can't pass block. So you like to see that rep. You see him running the ball. He's a guy that just needs reps, really, at running back. Let's see if we could see any of his receiving ability. Yeah. So here he is when he was at receiver at Iowa. But even at Purdue, out of the backfield, they used him as a weapon in the receiving game. So he's a player you would love to see on the 49ers because he has that dual threat ability that we like to use. You could legit split this guy out wide and he could play receiver. So I like that. I don't know what his 40 was, and I don't know what round he's going to go in because, I don't know how valuable teams will see this guy being a brand new running back. But if you could get him late, perfect player for the 49ers offense.
Yeah, he's a big guy too, 6'1", 210. Like we said, he's older, 24. He's a redshirt senior as well. Niners kind of, like we said, like the older players. And yeah, he had his best graded year, 90.5 rushing grade, 80.7 zone grade, which is huge for us. 163
He is
and a half
running a
elusive
kickback.
rating. What was that?
That play, he was running a kickoff return back, so you like to see that as well.
Yeah, he has that versatility. So yeah, definitely a guy to watch. Kind of like that. He was from Florida State last year. Moreno Cropper was a guy that played receiver and running back and had that versatility, you know. And obviously, Niners love players that can do a lot of things. So definitely a guy to keep your eye on. Probably, obviously, in the later rounds.
Yeah, let's see. All right, 40, 4.48. Good speed for a running back. 40-inch vertical.
Yeah.
That's explosive. And then a 10.4 broad, 4.06 20-yard shuttle. His athleticism score at the combine has him ranked fourth. Is the fourth highest running back. So, you know, definitely if you get this dude late, he could be a really good pickup. And, you know, he's one of those dudes that can do what Debo did when Debo was valuable. Well, his most valuable to the 49ers. He doesn't play running back anymore. You kind of lose a quarter of that value that he brought to the team. This dude isn't Debo, but he has that skill set that you like that Debo had.
I mean, he could bring value too, just like that last clip you showed. He can just bring value on special teams, especially with that new kickoff rule. Just having a value as a special teams returner could be huge, obviously, which is a huge need right now since Ray McLeod's gone and Ronnie Bell sucks. So
Exactly. All right. So how many more players do you guys want to do each?
I think we're good there probably if you want to do one more.
All right, I'll do one more, and then I'll name off a couple people that I had on my list that I'm not going to get to. So one more guy that I wanted to name off, he's probably anywhere from the 6th, 7th, maybe undrafted range. But he's Air Force safety Trey Taylor. So you don't really see a lot of the academy guys make it to the NFL. But he's 6 foot, 213 pounds. He plays kind of like a strong safety, but he could play free safety. His RAS score is a 9.71. He can play in the box. He could play deep, but as you know, those academy schools, they usually all run the ball a lot. So he played a lot of running teams. So he didn't really get to show off his coverage skills as much as you would like, but he's great against the run. And as a late round guy, I think he's a really good pickup as a sleeper. Related to Ed Reed. So, and there was an interception right there. So playing safety, being related to Ed Reed never can do you any harm. As you can see in run fits, dude is not afraid to come up and hit. And, Tashawn Gibson, I got on him a little bit last year. Dude was missing a lot of tackles. So like this dude as a developmental late round safety, especially we're kind of lacking a little bit of depth at safety now. So definitely a player I would like to see on the team.
Definitely. I mean, he's graded well throughout his whole college career. Very versatile guy too. Like you said, he played 200 snaps deep, 327 in the box, 160 in the slot. Obviously, huge on that one. 50 tackles, only 10 missed tackles on 708 defensive snaps. You know what I mean? He had an 89.0 coverage grade, 72.7 run defense grade. So obviously, graded out very well. Like you said, could be one of those huge developmental type guys too.
Yeah, and one thing I forgot to mention about him is he this year was the Jim Thorpe Award winner, which goes to the best defensive back in college football. So you think of all the DBs that are going to go in the first, second, third round this year. This dude was the Jim Thorpe winner for best DB in college football this past year. So definitely a sleeper I think we should look at. And if you look at the Jim Thorpe award winners list, you see a lot of very, very good names on that list. Kobe Bryant recently, pretty good corner for the Seahawks. Grant Delpit, DeAndre Baker, Minka Fitzpatrick. So, you got some names on here. So even back in the early 2010s, Eric Berry, Patrick Peterson. Dude joined some very good company on the Jim Thorpe Award winner list. So,
yeah,
definitely a good sleeper.
Definitely. I'll go ahead and give out the names of my guys that I didn't really get a touch on. One of them is Yale offensive tackle Kieran Amagadaje. Very athletic, underrated guy, obviously coming from a smaller school. So that's somebody to keep your eye on, do some research on him. I put this receiver on there just in case, something happens with Ayuk if he doesn't come back, all the drama that's going on right now. But Jalen Polk from Washington. Obviously, if you get any of those receivers from Washington, you're getting a stud. So that's something to keep your eye on. And I think that was my only two guys that I didn't get a touch on was Jalen Polk and then Kieran, however the hell you say his last name.
Yeah, that dude, I think it's Kieran Amajaji or something.
Yeah.
But that dude has like 38-inch arms.
Yeah.
And like the length you want is 34 inches at tackle. So this dude is like the biggest wingspan. He has like a NBA wingspan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. Couple of guys I wanted to touch on that I didn't get to. Mo Kamara, defensive player of the year in the Mountain West this year. He's a short, small edge rusher. He's about 6 foot, 250, kind of that D Ford build. He ran like in the 4.5s in the 40. So he's explosive. I think he had like 15 sacks this year. Definitely one of my favorite edge rushers in this class. Another guy, Austin Booker. I know you liked him as well. I think this year he started like 3 games, and he's only started a few games in his college career, but the dude is just, when you watch the tape, he rushes like a true number 1 edge rusher. Kind of like the Max Crosby style coming out of college. You kind of see that with him. So that's a guy to keep your eye on, Austin Booker. And then Graham Barton, another guy, he played tackle at Duke in college, but he has short arms, so he's going to be a guard or a center in the NFL. Probably going to be, one of the top. He's right up there with Jackson Powers Johnson. If he's not a center, he's probably the top guard in this draft class. And then one other guy is Cooper Beebe. He's probably the best true guard in the draft, and nobody's talking about him because there's so many good tackles that are going to convert to guard in the NFL. This dude, his tape is hilarious. If you turn on the Cooper Beebe tape, this dude pancakes everybody. Everybody's on their ass. It's hilarious. And he's a great puller. So those are my guys.
Yeah, and there's obviously a whole bunch more too that we can mention. There's a tight end out of Kansas State. That's a good tight end, good prospect, underrated. Joseph has been singing Mo Kamara's praises this whole offseason, so that's obviously one of Joe's favorite guys out there. But yeah, do some research on these guys yourself. Let us know what you think in the comments. Let us know some of your favorite players, some of your favorite targets, underrated guys, so we can look them up too. We're always trying to do some more draft research. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Obviously, the draft's one of our favorite times of the year. Coming up real quick, a little bit under 2 weeks. So keep your eyes on that. And yeah, it's nice to finally have a first round pick for the first time in like 3 years. So that's going to be exciting. I actually have something to tune into on day one.
Yeah, one last thing before we go. The 49ers did have their local pro day this past week. And there was a huge list of names of people, and I never heard of, I think maybe one person without the 49ers local pro day. It was a down year, but I've made a list that I'll put on the screen real quick. 1 second, let me pull it up. But we have Emery Hunt. He was on our channel last year. We have his draft guide from this year. And so I looked up his positional rankings for the people that were at the 49ers local pro day. And so just so you guys could see if the 49ers get these guys undrafted or something, this is where Emery Hunt had them listed. So a couple of the top guys that were at the local pro day, this Chigozie Anuzium, he's a corner. Emery Hunt has him as his number 7 ranked field cornerback from Colorado State. He was at the local pro day. Ryan Cooper Jr., he's a slot cornerback. He was his number 10th rated slot corner. They had the San Jose State quarterback, Chevin Cordero, his number 26 ranked QB. This running back, his number 91 running back. This guy, safety from Nevada, Amani Johnson, his 10th ranked strong safety. So it looks like the 49ers had some good DBs at this local pro day, which, like you said, that's one of your biggest needs. So that's good to see. You could see a couple of these. Number 9th ranked nose tackle, 9th ranked combo safety. Terrell Owens' son, obviously, is his number 14th ranked flanker wide receiver. Jackson Sermon, inside linebacker from Cal, his number 13th ranked inside linebacker. And then Ron Stone, I believe this dude's grandpa or dad was a 49er back in the day. I don't know. Do you know who he is, Dad? Stone?
No, I don't. Might be.
I don't know
before my
who.
time.
Yeah, I don't know who he is, but somebody in his lineage was a 49er. So just got to mention that. And then Chase Williams, his 5th ranked free safety. So it looks like a lot of good DBs were actually at the 49ers local pro day. Might be some undrafted late round guys that they end up picking up. So, watch some film, do some research on these guys. And just wanted to throw them up for you guys that are watching, because I know there was like no media coverage on the local pro day.
Yeah, it looks like Ron Stone's dad played offensive line for the Niners. It was for like a year or something. Nothing crazy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Something maybe next podcast you guys do, since you're going to be doing more of them, hit on what do you guys think about some of these sons of our old great players, or brother, like McCaffrey's brother, Frank Gore Jr., Jerry Rice's son. Hit on that, opinions on that, what you guys think on players like that. They are ballers.
Yeah, maybe the next episode can be a legacy episode, touching on the fits and how we think they would slot into the 49ers team, and if they would just be an overall good fit and need for the Niners. So keep an eye out for that episode next week.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yep.
We'll
See
see
y'all
you guys
later.
next time.
Peace.